Hey everybody, it's Jessica, and I wanted to do a short video. The school year started, the new school year for some of us. It's been about, I think I'm 3 weeks into the school year. I coach high school debate. And in time for that, there's a new law that teenage activists pushed in Oregon, mental health activists, and it was signed into law by their governor, Kate Brown, and it allows students to take mental health days just as they would sick days. So I'm going to include a link to the NBC News article I read about it. But basically, it says this is one of the first laws that explicitly instructs schools to treat mental health and physical health equally. And if suicide rates, in the state of Oregon, they were saying that nearly 17% of eighth graders seriously considered suicide over the past 12 months, and that suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 34. And one of the teenagers who pushed for this bill is quoted. Her name is Haley Hardcastle. She's 18 years old, and she's from the suburb Sherwood, which is in Portland. And she said, "We were inspired by Parkland, we the teenagers who pushed for the bill, because it showed us that young people can totally change the political conversation." And she says that this bill allowing students to take mental health days encourages kids to admit when they're struggling. And so as somebody who has bipolar disorder and was diagnosed when I was 18 as a freshman in college after I sought help, I'd struggled with recurring depression throughout my teen years, and I did not have a vocabulary for it. I didn't even know what bipolar disorder was, so it's not like I would have any notion that I had that. I'm not even sure back then that I knew the phrase mental health days. But if there was a rule or a law allowing me, or formally recognizing that this was a problem, I think it definitely would have helped me ask for help. And that's what this teenager, Haley Hardcastle, is talking about. And the director of Mental Health America, which is a nonprofit group, said that she believes this bill could help reduce the stigma around mental illness. And so a lot of people, the critics say, oh, this is just going to encourage students to make excuses, or they're just going to lie. The truth is, people who are already severely struggling can be, taking days off, or they can be struggling with suicidal thoughts without having any adults to help them. And students don't lie. They don't make up mental illnesses so that they can get out of doing things. That's just not how that works. When a student is struggling with a mental health problem and they have the courage to ask me for help, there's usually some shame involved in it. It's not like, even when they're asking, which is courageous, they're still a little bit embarrassed. So when people make excuses, if a student makes excuse, they're never going to blame a non-existent mental illness. People aren't just going to use this, they're not going to say, I have this X stigmatized illness just so they can get a day off. That's not how that works. People don't understand that. And the teenager, Haley Hardcastle, is quoted in the article. She said she's received pushback from parents who say students will just lie and pretend to be sick. And Hardcastle says that misses the point of the bill. Students are already going to take the same amount of days off from school without the new law, but they are more likely to lie about why they're taking the day off. And why should we encourage lying to our parents and teachers, Haley says. Being open to adults about our mental health promotes positive dialogue that could help kids get the help they need. And as somebody who's lost friends to suicide when I was a teenager at a young age, it's really important to create an atmosphere where students and young people feel comfortable asking for help, right? So it's just a part of the conversation where people know, hey, there's no shame in this. And if you tell people, hey, there's X amount of mental health days, I think, there's 5 mental health days in a school year, or whatever the number is, it puts it out there in the conversation that, mental health is important, and people can struggle with different kinds of emotional problems, and it's okay to speak up. That's kind of what it says. So the teenagers quoted in the article, or the teenagers who are pictured in the article, who helped push this through. They were pictured at the Oregon State Capitol. There's Sam Adamson, Lori Riddle, Haley Hardcastle, and Derek Evans, which is just, that's awesome to see young people making a difference. Congrats to all of you for getting this law passed. And, there's so many adults who could learn from these young people. They really could. And on a serious note, there are parents quoted in the article. Their names Roxanne and Jason Wilson. And so they say that this law, having mental health days for students, just as you would allow them to take days off for physical illnesses that are sometimes less stigmatized, they say that this law could have saved their 14-year-old daughter, Chloe, who died by suicide in February 2018. Their daughter experienced bullying after she came out as bisexual in middle school. And they said that Chloe would lie. She would pretend to be sick, pretend to be physically sick so that she could stay home. And her mom is quoted as saying, because she lied to get her absences excused, we didn't get to have those mental health conversations that could have saved her life, said Roxanne, who now manages a local suicide prevention program. And the article goes on to say that Chloe was one of 5 teens to die by suicide in the Eugene area that month. Wow. And so that her parents moved away. Anyway, the parents are saying, Chloe's parents, that those who worry that the bill is coddling teenagers, are using insensitive language, and that they're underestimating the challenges today's teenagers face. Her dad, Jason Wilson, says calling kids coddled or sensitive just further discourages them from being honest with adults about what they're going through. Jason says we need to do everything we can to open up the dialogue between parents and children when it comes to mental health. And so I definitely agree with that. I think we need to do whatever it takes to give young people a vocabulary to ask for help before something bad happens. We need to make them comfortable in doing so. So congratulations to the teenagers in Oregon who pushed for change. And you don't know, you have no idea how many lives you could be changing. And if you liked this video, give it a like and share it. Thanks. Bye.